Hi, everybody. Well, my name is Barbara. I'm sure you know. I work for ICB. I'm the General Manager. And welcome to our evening going through the new prospectus and the launch of our product offering for 2021. So yes, we know it's probably a crazy time, 7 o'clock in the evening, but you know that's when hopefully everyone can get going, and the streaming is easier and the kids are sorted. So thanks very much. Tonight's audience, we are looking at predominantly current students, prospective students, and then also there's some colleges that might join us because we had a session for colleges this morning, but we have told the providers that they are welcome to join tonight's session as well. Maybe I can just go through a bit of housekeeping. We're going to allow questions on the side that you can type out. In terms of the actual presentation, we're not going to answer those questions because we've got an order of things that we want to go through. And maybe some of the questions that come through in the beginning are actually part of the presentation. So if you can bear with us, and then at the end, we'll have a look at the questions that we can answer in the live forum. Otherwise, we've also got a fabulous backup team. So we've got Gareth, and we've got Wally, and we've got Akila that's helping us on the side to help with all the typing of the questions that we do have to help field that. So we've got, because none of these things happen without a team, you know. And then we've got Darren that's helping us with the actual presentation. And then we've got Selma who's running the marketing, who actually put everything together. And then, of course, we've got Mandisa, who is our academic manager, who's going to be the speaker this evening and go through the presentation and the new product. Can I tell you a little bit about Mandisa if you didn't know? Mandisa has been with us for quite some time as our academic and compliance manager, and she has the wonderful ability of being as sweet as syrup for sales and providers and students, and exactly what we want. But then also she can have the steel rod of being the compliance manager to make sure that there's no irregularities. And somebody that can bounce that off is really amazing talent. And if you didn't know, Mandisa is also a student herself, and she's studying law, which also adds a lot of dynamics to the team, and also helps significantly with her role. And then Mandisa's not just a pretty face. Mandisa's got an amazing voice, who absolutely loves to sing, and we often ask her to sing for us, but we're actually not blessed with her singing or showcasing her talent. So maybe we can have a live stream one day where we can have a concert live in action. And Mandisa, just maybe one day. In terms of this evening, we're going through all the benefits that we've got with the new prospectus, and again, orchestrating or emphasizing the flexibility of ICB, the ability to work with different streams, and certainly a product offering like none other. And in terms of COVID, and in terms of load shedding, and in terms of different flexibilities, we've got some wonderful abilities that or introductions that we're going to bring in that can help digital students as well as students that prefer paper-based. So I'm going to hand you over to Mandisa, and we'll help with questions that on the side. Well done, Mandisa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you to everybody for joining us this evening. This is the first of 10 sessions that we have lined up for you. Towards the end of the session, I will share with you the other upcoming sessions. However, these have already been shared with you via email, and you can also view them on our calendar, which is on our website, but we'll talk about the calendar a bit later on. And as Barbara has already mentioned, we do have a comment section where you can post your questions. We will try and answer some of them as we go along, but we'll also have a few minutes after the session to allow you to basically ask your questions, and then we will answer as we go along. I have a team on the background that is assisting with answering the questions, but once we're done here, I can also go and have a look and see some of your comments and see if I'm required to answer some of those. Lastly, please remember that the ICB academic year starts from April to March. So when we make reference to changes taking effect in the new academic year during these sessions, we actually mean that from April 2021 to March 2022. And with that said, let's have a look at some of the topics that we will be discussing today. So we will look at some of the changes within the education landscape. We'll look at the 2021-2022 timetable. We will look at the exams, and then we will look at Mackie 3.0. As you know, Mackie is a name for our digital POE platform, and therefore in the Mackie 3.0 section, we'll basically be looking at the POE changes in a nutshell. And then we'll look at why we've made these changes, why you should study with ICB, and lastly, we'll look at the way forward in light of all of the changes that have been communicated to you. Now, if we look at our first slide, historically, the ICB had 5 learning streams, and that's the financial accounting stream, the public sector stream, the entrepreneurship stream, office administration stream, as well as the business management stream. However, due to reduced volumes in reduced enrollments in the entrepreneurship streams, the entrepreneurship and business management streams have been consolidated, which means that we will no longer offer the entrepreneurship stream in the new academic year, as the majority of our learners actually enroll for the business management modules and not the entrepreneurship modules. And it's important to mention that this was determined by a data analysis of enrollments for the past 5 years. So it's not a decision that was taken lightly at all. But you don't have to panic. If you look at the slide, on the left-hand side, you have the subject for the business management stream. And then on the right-hand side, you have the subject for the entrepreneurship stream, as it currently stands, because obviously the changes will only take effect in April. You will notice that the exit qualifications for both streams, for instance, for first level, is the same. That's the National Certificate in Small Business Financial Management. The subjects are also the same, with the exception of BMT1 on the business management side and ENT1 on the ENT side. If you look further down, you will see that the same goes for level 2 and level 3 subjects. You've got the same subject across both streams. You've got the same NQF level, the same credits, same learning outcomes, and the same and the same exit qualifications, which are the higher certificates in office administration for level 2 across both streams. And then you have the National Diploma in Financial Accounting for level 3 across both streams. So what does this mean for you? What is the way forward for you as a student? Well, firstly, as a result of these changes, students' final opportunity to write exams for those 3 ENT modules, ENT 1, 2, and 3, will be in February 2021. No further assessments will be taking place for these 3 modules beyond the set dates. So there will be no new exam entries, no RPL entries, no rewrites, and no postponements. So if you've already completed ENT 1, 2, and 3, for instance, you will obviously retain your credit for those modules. But if you now want to sort of move across to the financial accounting stream, there will be automatic exemptions for BMT 1, 2, and 3. In other words, if you've completed ENT 1, you will get an automatic exemption for BMT1. The same goes, you've completed ENT2, you get an automatic exemption for BMT2. And then lastly, if you've completed ENT3, you will get an automatic exemption for BMT3. And so essentially that means that you can progress and complete your studies through the BMT stream and get the same qualifications without doing any additional work paying any extra fees. And then let's move on to our next slide. Now, for the same reasons that we have discontinued the entrepreneurship stream, we've also consolidated the financial accounting as well as the public sector accounting streams, which means that the public sector accounting stream will therefore be discontinued from the new academic year. And just like the entrepreneurship stream, the public sector stream only had 2 modules that made it different from the other qualifications on the financial accounting stream. And those 2 modules were basically TPAC, that's Technical Public Accounting, as well as PAD, which is Public Administration Accounting, if I'm not mistaken, excuse me. So once again, it means that you can actually progress through your studies and finish your qualifications through the financial accounting stream. If, let's say, for instance, you've completed the qualifications within the public sector stream, such as the National Certificates in Public Sector Accounting or the Diploma in Public Sector Accounting, you will obviously retain your credits as well as your qualifications. Your qualifications do not lose any value. And if, for instance, you've completed, let's say, all of the public sector level 1 modules, with the exception of PAD, and you've not entered for exams for the last exam session in February, or you've entered for the exam in February, but you are deemed incompetent or not yet competent in February, all you need to do is, instead of re-entering for PAD, you will now enter for PMSR, which is a subject on the Financial Accounting Foundation level. And then you will get your national certificate in bookkeeping. And if you complete, the nice thing about the financial accounting stream is that if you, for instance, complete all of the 4 levels within the financial accounting stream, you actually get 4 qualification certificates as well as more credits, as opposed to the PSA stream where you had less credits as well as only 3 qualifications. Okay. So what means then is that the ICB will now only have 3 streams. And I would advise that if you need help understanding your individual way forward for your particular situation, if you can chat to your training provider or refer to the knowledge base article, which will obviously explain these particular changes to you. Alternatively, you can email ICB support should you need assistance with crossing over to any of the existing or the remaining streams. Furthermore, the changes that have been made to the streams have no impact on the ICB learning phases. If we can move to the learning phase slide, please. Thank you very much. So the learning phase, ICB still has only 3 assessment or learning phases, as you might call it. The phase 1 has assignment 1 as well as test 1, as we all know. Phase 2 has assignment 2 as well as test 2. And then lastly, you have phase 3, which has assignment 3 as well as the final exam. Remember that the POE makes up 30% of your final mark, and the final exam makes up 70% of your final mark. And an overall result of 60% or higher is required in order for you to successfully complete your module. And then we're going to move on to the next change within the educational landscape. And that is with regard to the end dates for the qualifications. So SAQA, who is the South African Qualifications Authority, has deregistered approximately 200 qualifications, and this is across various industries, with 4 of these, of course, being ICB qualifications, namely the National Diploma in Technical Financial Accounting, the Diploma in Office Administration, the National Diploma in Public Sector Accounting, and lastly, the National Diploma in Financial Accounting. So what does this mean for you as a learner? It means that you must enroll for these 4 qualifications before the 30th of July 2021. The 30th of July is what we refer to in the educational landscape as the last enrollment date. That means that is the last date on which you can enroll for those 4 qualifications. However, you will still have up until the 30th of July 2025 to actually study and get assessed for the subjects within those 4 qualifications. So you don't need to suddenly book and pay for all of the exams up until level 6 before the 30th of July 2021. You only need to register or enroll for those qualifications. Essentially, in simple terms, this means that when we as ICB submit a list of learners that are registered for these 4 qualifications at the end of July to what we call the National Learner Record Database, your name must be there. And if your name is there, you will automatically be allowed to complete your studies up until the 30th of July 2025. So make sure that you are registered
It seems like Mandisa might have some technical issues with regards to, between load shedding and everything, we have some real challenges, don't we? So yes, if we can just have a look at these slides and see that in terms of the registration dates, you can register for the entire stream, but you have a time period in which to do that, being the 30th of July 2021. And I think that you can ask any questions with regards to that. If you need any more clarification on that, feel free to send us messages on support and we can clarify that, or alternatively, your college can assist you more with that. And then with regards to the timetable, I think the nice thing with the new introduction that we've got for the 2021-22 timetable is that we've got an interactive calendar on the website. So you can basically sift through and you can see which courses are relevant to you, and you can almost make it user-friendly and personalize it. So this is where it's really nice in terms of new initiatives that can be done with digital and with technology. Remember that the February 2021 is separate because April 2021, like Mandisa said, is the start of the new academic year, because the academic year runs from April until March of every year and not as per the calendar of January to December. All online exams can be written by both classroom and distance students, so that's going to be amazing. So you actually have a choice of writing a paper exam or an online exam. And we know, especially with some people got data and hardware limitations, and some students prefer paper, writing actual paper, or with the whole COVID thing, maybe you're a bit nervous about going to a venue. And we've also made it that every second month you can actually write an exam. So the nice thing is that we can have the frequency of the exams is so much better. Oh, Mandisa's back. Mandisa, shall I just finish
You are
Thank you
very much for holding the fort. I'm not sure what happened there, but hopefully it does not happen again. Thank you very much, and apologies to everybody. I'll just continue where we left off. Is that fine, Barbara?
Absolutely. I was just telling everybody about the wonderful thing that we've got online and paper exams, so that you can choose which forum that you want, and just every alternate month, and the fact that you've got more frequency to write the exam. So yes, over to you, Mandisa, and I'll be on standby.
Our qualifications, you will certainly be able to complete your qualifications up until the 30th of July 2025. Your training providers as well as ICB will also ensure that you enroll for all of the levels just to be safe. For instance, if you enroll for junior bookkeeper, you will then be enrolled for all of the levels within the financial accounting stream. And if you are a potential student that is joining this live stream, I will highly encourage you to ensure that you register or enroll for those qualifications prior to that that last enrollment date of the 30th of July 2021. Please remember that not all of the ICB qualifications are affected by this change. And then if we look at the upside of this particular change, I think that it will encourage you guys as learners to actually complete your qualifications by 2025. So ensure that you actually plan your studies, you book your exams, and ensure that you've completed all of your modules for these 4 qualifications by the 30th of July 2025, because you don't want to leave it for last minute, as there will be no reassessments or postponements beyond the 30th of July 2025. It's also worth mentioning that ICB has various new and exciting products in development that will obviously be launched in the future. So make sure that you do keep an eye out on our website for some of those exciting products. Thank you. Let's move on to our next slide, please. Okay, now I'm not sure how far Barbara had gone, but it's fine. We'll just go ahead and go to the slide. The timetable is available on the website. You have your normal timetable as well as the interactive calendar. Unlike the timetable, the interactive calendar basically has all dates and events. It's not just exam-related dates. For instance, it has all the dates for the live streams, the webinars. And if we plan any future event, we'll obviously input the details on the calendar. And if you want to check what's up for the week or for the month, you just go to our website, go to the interactive calendar, and you will find it there. What's nice as well about the interactive calendar is that you can actually filter the calendar by the exam period, the subject, as well as the type of event. The timetable for exams available on our website. The prospectus is not available yet, but will be made available probably sometime tomorrow after the session. Remember that there's 2 timetables for 2021. That's the Feb and March timetable, and then you have the April 2021 to March 22 timetable as well. So if you can't see the Feb and March dates there, you just need to go and get and download the Feb and March timetable. Now, in terms of the timetable, all the online exams can be written by both classroom and distant students. And this is actually quite exciting because, as Barbara was mentioning when I came in, there are now more opportunities for both campus and distant students to write their exams with the online offering. For face-to-face students, you'll have to check with your providers if they have the online exam option, because obviously there's certain requirements there. And then please also make sure that you book the correct type of exam when you're making the bookings. Also take note of the cutoff dates for entries, postponements, results, the results release dates, because all of these obviously need to be adhered to, and no exceptions will be made, unfortunately. Now, lastly, on the calendar, all the venues might not be open for all of the exams listed, because obviously venues have limited capacity due to COVID-19 regulations. So my advice to you would be to make sure that you book and pay for exams as soon as possible to avoid disappointments, because a lot of learners are now trying to complete their studies so they can go out there and get employment and get better opportunities within the existing employment because the financial climate is on the downside. And an ICB qualification will certainly help get you to a better place. So book those exams to avoid disappointments. Let's move on to our next slide. So in this next slide, we will be looking at exams. As you know, from the new academic year, we will be offering online exams, and the timetable shows you exactly when those online exams will be taking place. If we look at paper and online exam side to side, you will see that all students and exam registrations are online for both online as well as paper exams. The paper exams can only be written by either campus or distance learners, depending on the timetable. In other words, you need to check the timetable because some paper exam months are only for campus learners, and some of them are for both campus learners as well as distance learners. Whereas with online exams, these can be written by both the campus and the distance distance learners. And that's exactly what we mean when you say there are more exam opportunities with the online exams. The paper exams will continue to start at 9, whereas the online exams will start in the afternoon at 1 p.m. The paper exams are obviously written on campus or at an ICB exam venue, whereas the online exams are written online, and you must meet specific technical requirements. And one of those requirements is obviously the fact that you must make use of Chrome. But Chrome is not just for usage during exams, it's actually for the entire POE. As you go through the POE, you have to be on Chrome. Lastly, if you are booked for a paper exam, you cannot postpone your exam to online. The same goes if you are booked for an online exam, you cannot postpone to a paper exam. A separate session has obviously been scheduled to look at online exams as well as its requirements, so that will be discussed during that particular session. And now we will have a brief overview of the POE changes. As mentioned earlier, more information on the POE changes will be discussed in the upcoming sessions. This is really just an overview of those changes. Now, in terms of the POE, all of the POEs are digital. There will be no paper POE under any circumstance. There's one portfolio POE per subject for the year. What that means is if you are booked for a particular subject, you will get your POE for that subject, and you can use that POE throughout that academic year. For instance, if you postponed or you're not yet competent and you re-enter for that same subject, you can make use of the same POE, which is quite awesome because a lot of learners previously complained that they didn't really want to have to go and redo their POE. They just want to do the exam. So now you actually have an opportunity to do exactly that. But this will be explained in greater detail when we do the POE changes session. So if you want more information on all of these changes, make sure that you tune in or join those live streams. The new POE will also now include ID verifications. You will not be able to move on to your tests and your assignments as well as your exams until you have completed the ID verification. So I will highly advise that you do not leave it for last minute. So make sure that you go into that POE and start the verification process. The POE, as usual, will have an admin section. It will have tests, assignments, and then an exam session will now be included for those that are booked for online exams. So if you go into a POE and you see an online exam session, don't worry, you won't be able to do anything there until the day of the exam. You will also now have access to a grade book. That means that you will now be able to see some of your tests as well as assignment results, which was not in place previously. You could only see your test 1 and test 2 results. Now you can see some of the assignment results, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. I won't elaborate on that. If you want to know more, you're just gonna have to join our next session. In terms of the test, all of the tests are online. There are still 2 tests, but going forward, you will have 2 attempts at each test. And again, I won't elaborate. You'll have to join our next session to find out more about that. The tests are obviously auto-marked, which means that the results are available immediately. Moving on to assignments. The assignments 1 and 2 are fully online. Assignment 1 and 2 going forward will be auto-marked and marks available immediately. Assignment 3 will have to be downloaded, completed, and obviously uploaded before the exam. And then lastly, there will be no paper submissions of tests, POEs, or assignments. So you will not be able to submit your assignment, a printed assignment. You will have to upload this onto the portal. And lastly, with regards to exams, although we've pretty much covered all of this, again, to reiterate, you will have an additional section on the portfolio for online exams. The online exams will start at 1 p.m. and then you will need to have Chrome as well as meet other technical requirements in order for you to successfully complete your online exam. And let's move on to the next slide. So one of the things that we must address is the fact that the prospectus for the upcoming academic year was released late, whereas we usually release it in November. And we did that basically to align it with the ICB academic year, which starts in April, as I mentioned earlier. We've also done the changes to exams in order to provide more opportunities for students to actually write exams, even though it's via the online platform. We also have made some of the changes to keep track with international developments, and also to offer students and providers alternative avenues to actually write their exams. Excuse me, especially during COVID-19 and all of the restrictions that it has brought upon us. The other thing to actually look at is the fact that with online exams, we are now making use of a hybrid learning approach, which uses various teaching and assessment methods, which include the traditional face-to-face activities, as well as your digital and recorded sessions. So it's also self-directed learners, especially if you're a distance learner and you're writing this online exam from home. It's self-directed, and that self-direction, that independent, that making use of technology within your own space, at home without guidance, can actually be translated to a work environment, which deems you basically competent to work from home. For instance, with COVID-19, a lot of employers have actually allowed their staff to work from home. So it's good to try new things and to move with the fourth industrial revolution and be aligned with the fourth industrial revolution and move towards online. Of course, the change will be major for some of the students, but some of the students are obviously excited for different reasons. But ideally, all of us within various industries, and not just with ICB, should ideally be moving towards the digital world. Now, let's look at the 10 reasons why you have to study with ICB. I love this slide because it's actually factual information. So it's not just me sitting here trying to sell you the ICB product. What I'm giving you here is factual information. And part of my role involves getting out there, liaising with employers for learnerships and liaising with providers all over the country. And I can tell you that the feedback that we get speaks to these reasons that I have jotted down here. Now, the first benefit is that employers prefer to appoint ICB qualified students because the ICB qualifications are occupational. An occupational qualification is fit for purpose. And what that means is that it gets you ready for the qualification that you are actually training for. Secondly, our programs are obviously flexible. You have your part-time, full-time, campus and distance students. Therefore, you can study at your own pace. We have more frequent exams, unlike the traditional universities where you only have 2 semesters, meaning 2 opportunities per year to write your exams. You also have access to up-to-date information because we do update our content quite frequently. And I know for some students, they're not happy with that because obviously it means you need to purchase new textbooks. But the aim here is to keep you up to date with industry standards and industry regulations. And even when you put the qualification on your CV, you can say that the content is actually updated on an annual basis. That's something to be proud of, and that's something that will certainly set you apart from the rest of the people that are vying for that same opportunity or job opportunity. You also get multiple qualifications quicker. You get a qualification for each level. For instance, with the financial accounting programs, there are 4 levels, which means you walk away with 4 qualifications. You don't need to study for a full 3 years before you get a qualification. You do your first level and you get a qualification. And then number 6, easily accessible. We have approximately 500 providers all over the country. Some of them are obviously outside the country, like Namibia, etc. So you don't need to be restricted to one area. If, for instance, you were to move because of work or whatever, you would still be able to complete your ICB studies, and that's a good thing. The ICB qualifications are internationally recognized by international professional bodies for either memberships and or exemptions like your CIMA, your IB, your IAP. And then you have your high quality learning. As mentioned earlier, you have 3 tests, 2 tests. Some of you are campus learners, which means you also get college tuition, you get textbooks, you get workbooks, you get videos, you get study support. The qualifications are also locally essential in that they are registered on the SAQA database and they meet the academic requirements for membership of recognized professional bodies within the South African landscape. Lastly, entry to an ICB qualification is quite easy. The minimum requirement or the minimum entry level is for an entry level course is 16 years old. So that is actually quite a good thing. And you must have obviously your grade 10 or standard 8, I believe. And that covers that. Now, I just want to quickly take you through the knowledge base, because often we talk about the knowledge base and, you know, we hardly really explain what the knowledge base is. So the slide is basically to explain what that is all about. The knowledge base, first of all, is a platform that is located on our website. So if you go to the ICB website and you click resources, under resources, you will see an option for knowledge base on the drop down. So if you click on that, it will take you to the knowledge base. The knowledge base basically has general exam information, policies, course information, digital portfolios. It has results and certificates information, and processes, fees, etc. Any new changes, announcements, updates on ongoing issues will also be updated as announcements or articles on the knowledge base. Now, the latest announcement that we have added on the knowledge base today is with regard to exam subjects availability, postponement dates, as well as venue capacity limits. Okay, now I want to elaborate on this particular announcement. It's actually your task for the day to visit the knowledge base, find the article regarding the February postponements, and read it, as it may have an impact on you. Please also feel free to play around the knowledge base and read some of the articles. You can click on any article to read it, but you can also type in the search and search for whatever that you need assistance with, and it will bring up a list of articles related to that particular subject, and you can then open your desired article. And I know that when we talk about an article, it sounds like a lengthy, boring academic or newspaper article, but I can assure you that articles are short, sweet, and straight to the point. So your task today is to locate the February postponement announcements on the knowledge base and also play around. And please feel free to make any suggestions regarding any articles that we need to add on the knowledge base so that it's available for everybody to actually see. And I'm just going to quickly take you through some of our upcoming sessions. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the session 1, which is looking at the prospectus launch. The next session will be on Tuesday, the 26th of January. Another thing that I should mention is the fact that we have live streams for both the providers and the students. So the information that I'm relating to you or relaying to you has already been communicated to your training providers, and they will also have more upcoming sessions. So next week, Tuesday, on the 26th of January, we'll be looking at the 2021 portfolio in terms of what's new there. For instance, the ID verifications, as I mentioned earlier, but we'll obviously go into greater details. Thursday, the 28th of January, we'll look at how to complete your POE. We have a session on how to book and postpone your exams in Feb. We also have a session on how to upload your assignment, especially for learners that are using mobile phones. I mean, obviously you cannot use the mobile phone for your final exam, but perhaps to upload your assignment, you can do that. And we'll show you exactly how to scan and upload that particular document as a single PDF. Remember, it has to be a single PDF, but again, that will be explained in greater detail. So please make sure that you join that session so that you no longer struggle with scanning and uploading those assignments. And then session 6, which is mid-Feb, we'll look at the paper versus online exam bookings. And we'll also have a session where we look at what's new for RTAP and RPL students. Very important that those particular students join that session. Session 8, we'll look at where to find your results. Session 9, we'll look at online exams and what's required. So for instance, your specific technical requirements for online exams, so that you're well aware before you book an online exams. Meanwhile, your PC does not meet the minimum technical requirements. I can assure you that provided that you have a stable internet connection and you are using Chrome, most likely you are sorted. So it's not like we have some stringent technical requirements for online exams. And then lastly, on the 25th of Feb, our last session, we will look at how to register on the student portal. All of the learner live stream sessions will be taking place at 7 p.m. Because the provider sessions take place in the morning. Okay, let's move on to our next slide. Looks like we're done. Okay, now the link to the recorded stream will be communicated to you. You can also visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel to actually view the recorded stream once it's obviously uploaded. But so long, you can just go onto our YouTube channel and subscribe if you're not joining us from YouTube, because we obviously have students that are joining us from the ICB Facebook page, and then we have students that are joining us from the YouTube page. I think it's so important to actually subscribe to both of those, because we can't do posts on YouTube. You know, we can only upload videos there, whereas with Facebook we can do some posts there, especially with urgent and important updates, even though those are also once again available on the knowledge base. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll take a few minutes to go through some of your questions that you've asked on the comment section, or you can also add them now. We'll spend a few minutes with the rest of my team tackling those, and then we will close the session. Okay. Let me just quickly go through these. You're just going to have to bear with me, because I need to literally scroll up and down to see if anything has been unanswered. If it happens that we missed a particular question, what we do is at the end of each session, we print out or save all of the questions that have been asked, check that they've all been answered. If one of them has not been answered and there is no knowledge-based article on it, we will write up a knowledge-based article on that particular topic. Okay, let's just quickly scroll through. What do you mean? So Kirby is asking, what do you mean by 30th of July when the cutoff date is the 30th of July 2025? The 30th of July 2021, as I mentioned earlier, is the last enrollment date. That is the date by which you need to enroll for those 4 qualifications. The 30th of July 2025 is the last achievement date. That means from the 30th of July, or rather from now on, you have from now on up until the 30th of July 2025 to complete your qualification. But if you have not enrolled for that qualification by the 30th of July this year, you will not be able to enroll for it afterwards or complete it. So the 30th of July this year is for the enrollment on that qualification. I hope it's clear. Someone is asking about the workplace POE. Generally, we do not really divulge information to learners regarding the workplace POE because there is so much involved in it. We never really liaise with students directly regarding workplace POE. Please make sure that your employer is accredited with ICB as an employer, and then get them to contact us, and we will gladly provide the information that they require. If you want to enroll and start the junior bookkeeping, would you want to start in April 2021? You can enroll for your qualification now, and then you will obviously select your own or your desired exam dates. So you can, for instance, enroll and then book for an exam that's taking place within 3 months, or within 6 months, or towards the end of the year. So it's completely up to you. All you need to do is to basically just enroll, and then you study at your own pace, as mentioned earlier. FRF, because of the reduced volumes, we have a paper session for February and March, and then we have an online session towards the end of the year. So you will actually have 2 exam opportunities this year to write FRF. Amira is asking what qualification she has now because she started with financial accounting last year. I wouldn't know. We'd have to check your profile, but you can log into your student portal and see what subjects you have completed. For instance, if you've completed the first 4 subjects, it probably means that you've completed the foundation level, and that's the junior bookkeeper level. But I can't tell you without looking at your profile. If you look at our prospectus and then check the subject that you have completed against the prospectus, you will also be able to determine how far you are in your studies. But if you've completed the qualification, the status will say completed, and you will get your ICB certificate online, and then you will also get your facet certificate. A viewer enrolled in 2021 July, meaning we should pay all modules. As mentioned earlier, a viewer, you do not need to now go and book and pay for all of those exams by the 30th of July 2021. You just need to enroll or register as a student under those particular qualifications, and then you will plan your studies between July this year up until the 30th of July 2025. You just need to make sure that you're planning your studies accordingly, but you don't have to go and book and pay for all of those exams before the 30th of July. I hope that is clear for everybody. Please do not worry or stress about that. Okay. It seems like you guys are coming in hot. I'm struggling to keep track of these questions. Okay, if I've already addressed that, I've mentioned that we have an exam session for paper in February this year. That's next month, as well as an online exemption towards the end of the year in December, if I am not mistaken. Those are the only 2 sessions that we could avail due to the reduced volumes within that particular subject. Rita's asking, when will we be able to upload the assignments, as I've done 2 so far, and I've not had an opportunity to upload them. I'm not sure which assignment you're referring to or the reason why you have not been able to upload them. I would highly suggest that you email support and tell us exactly what your problem is. And if you are getting an error on Mackie, take a screenshot of the error and send it through to us. And remember to explain exactly what the issue is, because we don't really have any other issue that's been reported on those POEs. Eloise, please make sure that you check the timetable for all of the due dates, because I obviously don't know them off from the top of my head.